chores first. My aunt was typically an early riser, but if she was sleeping in while she recuperated, I didn't want to disturb her. The barn door was open, leaving a dark, shadowy rectangle that contrasted sharply with the bright yellow of the exterior walls, currently highlighted by the slanting rays of the rising sun. I trekked across the spacious lawn that separated the house from the barn, breathing in the fresh air. The official start of summer was fast approaching, but the gentle morning breeze felt cool against my skin. When I stepped over the barn's threshold, I paused and waited for my eyes to adjust to the dimmer light inside. The smell of manure and straw met my nose. I didn't find the scent unpleasant. It brought back fond memories of hanging out with Auntie O's ponies when I was a teenager. I wished I'd had more of those days, but there was no changing the past. The man I'd seen entering the barn now stood in front of one of the animal stalls, fastening a halter on an alpaca. He rolled up the sleeves of his red plaid shirt to reveal muscled and tanned forearms, and, despite his cowboy hat, I could see that he had blonde hair that matched the stubble on his jaw. I could also tell that he stood several inches taller than my height of 5 feet 9 inches. Auntie O hadn't mentioned that the farmhand looked like a cowboy from the cover of a romance novel. Then again, she hadn't told me anything about him, not even his name. I was about to call out a greeting when he turned his head my way. My eyes had adjusted well enough to see that his expression was far from welcoming. I hesitated a split second before approaching him. He watched my every move with wary green eyes. "Who are you?" he asked as I drew closer. His voice held the same wariness and frostiness as his eyes. I stopped several feet away from him. "Georgie Johansen." His tense stance relaxed a fraction. "Olivia's niece?" I nodded. "I'm guessing you're the farmhand." "Callum," he offered, albeit somewhat grudgingly. Okay, so he wasn't the friendliest guy. Or maybe he just wasn't good with people. "My aunt probably told you that I'm here to help with the animals." He returned his attention to the alpaca in the stall. "You know how to feed the chickens?" I figured he was addressing me rather than the alpaca. "Yes," I replied. "That was my job when I lived here years ago. You'll find the food in the storage room." With that, he opened the stall door and let the alpaca past me and out of the barn. I stood in the same spot, watching him go. It didn't seem like we'd be friends anytime soon, but that didn't really matter. I was here for a few weeks, and then I'd be heading back to my screenwriting career in Los Angeles. With Callum and the alpaca now out of sight, I headed for the feed storage room and got to work. After I'd fed the chickens, Callum got me to muck out the stalls in the barn. By the time I'd finished that job, my muscles ached and I longed for a cold drink. I dusted off my sore hands and inspected my palms. A couple of blisters were taking shape. I needed to get myself some work gloves. I headed out into the sunshine to see if Callum wanted me to do anything else. I didn't spot him right away, so I leaned against the wooden fence and watched the alpacas grazing. It felt good to be back on the farm. I'd stayed away too long. I told myself it was because I'd been so busy building my screenwriting career since I'd finished college, but I knew that wasn't the whole truth. When I'd left the farm at age 17, after living with Auntie O for a year, I'd gone against my will. Moving away had been more difficult than any of the previous moves I'd endured before that. Twilight Cove got under my skin, made me want to stay. Leaving had felt like having some part of me torn away. That wasn't something I wanted to go through again, but when Auntie O called and said she needed my help, I couldn't turn her down. The sunlight flickered off to my left in the split second before a majestic great-horned owl landed on the fence about 10 feet from where my forearms rested against the top rail. My breath caught in my throat and I froze, staring at the beautiful creature with its characteristic feather tufts on its head. The owl had mostly dark brown plumage, with speckles of reddish-brown and white throughout. It also had a white patch on its upper chest, which puffed outward as it let out a gentle hoo, hoo. All the while, the owl's yellow eyes regarded me closely. "Hello, gorgeous?"